Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to the LL3 podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Wednesday, July 1st, 2020. So let us begin. Yeah, so first day of July. Yeah, so I was just like browsing through some of the sites here. It looks like the state of Virginia is enacted a law is going to be in effect today on one firearm per month program, or law they call it, which actually is an impairing contract that violates Article 1, Section 11 of their Commonwealth's Constitution. Yes, I understand the Second Amendment and, of course, Article 1, Section 13, the right to keep and bear arms, but it is an illegal contract. So it's null and void. They can say whatever the hell they want. I think the people in that Commonwealth should start calling them out. It's like with the whole long rifles after the horrific events at Stoneman Douglas. 3-day waiting period. Illegal. Null and void. Invalid contract under Article 1, Section 10 of the Florida Constitution. Yeah, some people don't like that, but I don't give a damn. Because I've lived here for a long time, 43 years to be exact. I know the laws, how it's supposed to be done. That is just an example. Okay, so what we're witnessing here. Of course, you know, I'm like browsing through some of the stuff on Florida News. I think it's called Florida Today, even Censored News. You know, it's good stuff. Censored News is good shot. Of course, like it says here, top headlines. Beaches remain open in Cocoa Beach, but group size limited. Yeah, so right to peacefully assemble, null and void. Of course, Florida adds more than 6,500 new COVID-19 cases. And the fact is, like I said before, it's always been a bioweapon. But now, the fear is going to going to people. Everyone's watching the idiot box, like in Broward County, they're shutting the beach down completely. Oh, well, they spend the people, they party. Let's punish everybody, right? 8% of the young people. It's all the young people. Yeah, there's people older than me can't even wipe their own rear ends too. Something you guys look at. Don't get caught in the mind control machine. The TV's television is pathetic. Even stuff people go on the internet to watch the same crap. That's on the tube. Get with the program. And John Torres, family man of murdered 2-year-old, holds on to faith that hope justice will come. I agree. Here. Of course, child in critical condition after Palm Bay shooting. And of course, St. John's, or as it says here, Bobert, no regrets about pushing mask wearing rule. Yep, involuntary servitude. Yes, master, may I have another. Remember the HIPAA law, folks, and the ADA law. We can use that against them. And of course, you know, Major League Baseball season canceled. Oh, minor league baseball season canceled due to COVID-19. That came out yesterday, to be exact. And okay, so there's stuff that's happening over there. And of course, we got stuff here. Even Florida Phoenix talks about some of the stuff that on abortion. They're not too pleased with DeSantis on multiple things, environmental concerns and all that. So, hey, I tell people, hey, instead of complaining to the governor about this, do a campaign to tell them to encourage people not to buy these damn products. What's so hard about that? Or they don't do things the lazy ass way. It always happens, right? And Epoch Times, you know, and Seattle police clear autonomous zone after mayor declares unlawful assembly. You know, she can get recalled, by the way, and the governor as well, under Washington's Constitution, Article 1, Section 33. Somebody said, could they be impeached? Yeah, do a recall. Piss on both of them. Of course, ex-officer charged with murder in Atlanta shooting, released on bail. So everyone's going to be wigging out over that. I've seen the entire video footage. and even Officer Rolfe did try to save Brooks' life. And plus, of course, Mr. Brooks aimed taser. Looks like he shot one of the officers. He done it to himself. Of course, not being racial is just actions, ethics. Because we all know about BM co-founder Patrisse Cullors was trained by a radical domestic terrorist for more than a decade. Yes, she loves Marxism. She loves to be she loves like to be a slave mistress, but she's serving someone else, probably kissing their feet as well. Yeah, so I'm just like doing a little rant here and there. However, it's going to be, Independence Day. Just pay attention on your surroundings and start preaching the Declaration of Independence and address the stuff on natural rights instead of living in a semi-totalitarian nation or community and defy Sharia law lights. Even the businesses should be getting involved, but the government don't care. Please tread on me. I want to be your Uncle Tom and Aunt Jemima. Government, that's what they want. That's what these people are thinking, and it's very disheartening. We should all stand up, give the Caesar salute, and sing God Bless the Patriot Act. Okay, let's do it. Excuse me here. Without further ado, I just decided to read a few things here. There'll be some 4 articles I'm gonna narrate. 2 from the Epoch Times, 1 from the Florida Phoenix, and good news from the Rutherford Institute. All right, this one's here. It's actually exclusive through the Epoch Times. They're a decent site. I always like these independent, nonpartisan sites because you try to get the bigger picture. And this one's entitled, this is exclusive, by the way, it's in Canada. Internal Chinese regime document shows money trail behind defamation campaign in Canada. And today is Canada Day. So what we're going to do, bow down to Mao and go, Justin Trudeau's our Lord and Savior? That pretty boy that he is? All right, let's just read here. This is by Lim Zhao, and is says here, an eternal Chinese regime document obtained by the Epoch Times revealed operations by agents of notorious Chinese Communist Party organization dispatched to carry out a mission in Canada, and the money trail behind nearly 2-decade defamation campaign conducted by a Montreal publication to advance Beijing's interest. The document is a 2018 yearly report from the Judicial and Political Committee of the Fangshan District of Beijing. Yep, people are working across the street, so you're going to hear that a few times. That's okay. I like doing things in the outdoors anyway. So, in a sense here about a Chinese Communist Party organ that oversees the district's 610 office, a Gestapo-like secret organization charged with carrying out the CCP's persecution campaign against Falun Dafa adherents. It reports that representatives from the Fagan District 610 office came to Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa to conduct sessions to slander heretical religions, a reference to Falun Dafa. The operation in Canada was conducted in accordance with the requirement of the Central Party Committee and the Municipal Party Committee, the document says. Anti-heretical religion seminars will be held with the Chinese communities of the 3 cities to publicize related Chinese laws and regulations for dealing with heretical religions and basic knowledge of anti-heretical religions, the document reads. Documents add that the mission had the intended effect. Local citizens have clear understanding of Falun Gong and other heretical religious organizations, expressing that they will not believe in them, will not promote them, and will not participate in their activities. Intelligence bodies, researchers, and defective CCP agents have long documented and spoken publicly about Beijing's use of diaspora to serve its interests overseas, particularly in Canada. But this document shows the direct involvement of a Chinese secret police type organization in Canada, as well as a direct link between the CCP organization and a Chinese publication in Canada serving the regime's interests. It's like more like manipulating Canada, like manipulating America. That publication is the Montreal-based Chinese language La Presse Chinoise, which the document says is cooperating with the Fangshan District 610 office to publish content opposing Falun Dafa and leaflets defaming the practice. 42 issues and 62 articles have been published, and 400,000 anti-heretical religion propaganda leaflets have been printed, the document said. It adds that 48 of the publication would be published by the end of 2018, each featuring a special section that contains articles slandering Falun Dafa. The document says that all funds have already been paid for 2018. Falun Dafa, also known as Falun Gong, is a spiritual practice consisting of meditative exercise and moral teachings. Adherents of the practice ruled by the Protected Creed by an Ontario Human Rights Tribunal have subjected to a severe persecution campaign by the Chinese regime since 1999. If I do recall, they do this in Tibet. I do remember reading about practices like this in that region. And so I'm going to continue on here. The news tactic. Chinese expert Yang Zia says is an eye-opening that local 610 office branch has gone beyond the borders of China, going so far sending agents to Canada to carry out a mission of demonizing Falun Dafa on Canadian soil. The city-level 610's office direct operation in the Canadian cities seems to be a new tactic in exporting the persecution of Falun Dafa overseas, said Zia, Senior Director of Research and Policy at the Washington-based Human Rights Law Foundation. Previously, we only knew of Chinese embassies and consulates systematically extending their persecution to marginalize and defame Falun Dafa's adherents in Western countries. We need to ship these bastards out. People in Canada should be doing that too, even in the States. It's chase their asses out. Oh, we're diplomats. No, you're invaders. You treat them like everybody else. Tyrants like garbage. I'm sorry. This is how you got to observe these things, folks. That's how I see it. Zia said he was aware of another 610 office branch funding anti-Falun Dafa activities in Flushing, New York for years. That's in the Queens district, by the way. Queens borough. According to a past report in the edition of the Epoch Times, the branch behind activities in Flushing is in Taijin 610 office. The latest development in Canada shows that the unusual scheme where the Beijing district level 610 office coordinates activities abroad may be a pattern. The CCP's penetration into other countries that this way is not very noticeable, but these operations could potentially involve many 610 city-level 610 office agents inferring within the society in countries outside of China, like the United States and Canada, he said. This is not only blatant violations of sovereignty of Western countries, it also undermines people's constitutional rights of freedom of religious belief and erodes freedoms in these countries. John Jay warned us about this in Federalist Papers 2-5. Read it, folks. And they're just an example. There's other countries doing the same thing. All you got to do is connect the dots and pay attention. Winnipeg-based human rights and immigration lawyer David Modis says if the 610 office agents who came to Canada to carry out the regime's directive of eradicating Falun Dafa has disclosed their true intention for coming to Canada, they wouldn't have been granted visas because they would be coming in for the purpose of fomenting incitement to hatred. Don't be surprised if the CCP is involved with some of the actions in the Parliament of Ottawa as well on getting people's rights violated. All right. My guess is that they didn't disclose the purpose of their visit when making the visa application. And that would be a violation of the law right here insofar as they come under false pretense. It's certainly worthwhile making through investigations. When people come in, Mata says, yeah, you can call it a contractual breach of contract. Foreign interference. Intelligence expert David Harris says Canadian authorities should be investigating the activities of the 610 office in this agency in Canada. The reports of further variations on Beijing's attempts to penetrate Canada and influence Canadians are extremely disturbing, in part because they seem to represent an expansion and influence operations that the Chinese Communist Party undertake on the sovereign territory of Canada, said Harris, director of the intelligence program at Exydia Strategic Research in Ottawa. In a profound sense, we have the scepter of Beijing's manipulation of Canadians, their media, and even their government. This is unacceptable for any country, let alone a liberal democracy that values the constitutional rights of all of its citizens, including those who may be Falun going practitioners. It's interesting, too, and the Canadian Constitution may contradict that. Okay, so, because I've read it in the past, it's like, a lot of it's made good, but they can still make changes at will. So we'll continue on here. Harris says that the Canadian government should investigate the matter and a lot of evidence has emerged and takes appropriate, decisive diplomatic and political actions against Beijing. Mattis says there is a clear case of, sorry about that, foreign interference in Canada. If the Chinese government were to spend that money openly through its embassy, and this was a publication of the embassy, that would be inappropriate diplomatic activity, he said. It would be foreign interference in Canadian affairs, and the people who are responsible for such a publication would be expelled from Canada as a persona non grata. But Canada lacks the required legislation to confront the issue of foreign interference more effectively, he said. I think any foreign agency is pumping money into Canada for advocacy purpose. There should be a requirement of registration for that advocacy. It shouldn't be undercover the way it is now, Mattis said. In some jurisdictions, such as Australia, there are laws in place that require entities acting on behalf of foreign governments to publicly register their names. Yeah, call them foreign agents. I think let's press Chinois in its financing is a classic example of the fact that we're undefended against this sort of manipulation, Mattis said. Interesting about the 610 office. The 610 office, named after the day it was formed on June 10, 1999, was asked to coordinate efforts to eradicate Falun Dafa, which had grown too popular in China for the liking of the totalitarian CCP. Heard even Christianity is getting big over there too. Government statistics show that between 70 to 100 million people in China took up the meditation discipline in the 1990s after its introduction to the public in 1992. The CCP organ was formed under the direct command of Jiang Zemin, the party leader who started the prosecution campaign against Falun Dafa in 1999, with the aim of eradicating it completely. The 610 office provided with extra legal powers, transcending administration power at different jurisdiction levels, to coordinate all aspects of the campaign to eliminate Falun Dafa. Through persecuting its adherents, this included arrest, torture, killings, propagation of slanderous information about the practice to turn public opinion against it. Hao Feizhong, a former officer with the 610 office who defected to Australia in 2005, said in past interviews that there are 610 office branches at each level of the CCP, from the Central Committee all the way down to the provincial city and local district level party branches. Although there have been reports of some organizational change to the 610 office, China expert Zia says there has been no fundamental change. He says that the only significant change is that since March 2008, the CCP organization oversees the 610 office that has been changed to the CCP Central Political and Legal Affairs Committee. But for all practical purposes, Nothing has changed for the player, and the 610 office continues its mission of eradicating Falun Dafa, probably under a different name, Zia says. Let's press Chinois. The internal document shows the financial links between the 610 office and Let's Press's Chinois, which has been publishing content against Falun Dafa for years. The online archives of Let's Press Chinois show that most of the weekly papers published for consecutive years have a section titled The Truth of Justice, which parrots the CCP's defamation and condemnation of Falun Dafa and its adherents that is spread by the regime in China. The content usually spans 2 pages, which contains no ad or any typical news articles. Let's Press Chinois is owned by Cresent Chau. The Epoch Times contacted Chau for comment but received no response. The paper published its first special edition on the subject in November 2001, which included a petition asking the Chinese community to unite in denouncing Falun Gong. The special edition was an indictment of Falun Dafa and the content, a word-for-word repetition of the CCP's hate propaganda against the practice decimated in China. University of Montreal history professor David Ornby also has studied Falun Dafa, has called the articles unsubstantiated filth poured upon the page, and there's no truth to the content. A group of Falun Dafa adherents took Chau to court, and in December 2001, 3 weeks after the first special edition, the court issued an injunction ordering Crescent Chau to stop publishing his anti-Falun Gong content. In May 2002, Chau defied a court injunction and published a second anti-Falun Gong special edition, cover saying Falun Dafa adherents were evil and the enemy of the state, among other slanderous statements. But the CCP is chosen by themselves. The world should revolve around them. Chau somehow drummed up funds to print 100,000 copies of another 32-page cover-to-cover anti-Falun Dafa special edition nationwide in both 2006 and July 2007, parroting CCP defamation material against Falun Dafa spread in mainland China. Copies were circulated in Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa, and as far west as Vancouver. Again, the special edition contained no advertising and was distributed for free. Regular issues of the paper, which had circulation of 3,000 to 4,000 in Montreal, sold for 60 cents. Chinese-owned, state-owned media, People's Daily, published a report praising Chau's effort days after the nationwide circulation. Chau is a regular at the World Chinese Media Forum, hosted every 2 years in China by the government and the United Front Work Department, the CCP organization responsible for gathering intelligence and influencing politics in foreign countries. China's state-owned media quoted Chau as saying that Beijing should strengthen its connection to the overseas Chinese community. The Epoch Times edition wrote a series of investigative reports in 2007 on Chau and suggested that he might be an agent of the Chinese regime. The report included interviews with Shen Yonglin, a former Chinese diplomat working for a unit specializing in eradication of Falun Dafa, who defected to Australia. Chen said it is clear that Let's Press Chinois has become the henchman and propaganda tool for the Chinese Communist Party. He also said it is very likely that the printing costs were covered by the regime. The content seemed to be mostly produced and provided by the CCP, he said. Chau sued the Epoch Times for libel, but the case was dismissed by the Superior Court. Justice Catherine Mandeville in April 2010. There's a case for a biter complaining about being bitten, Mandeville said, and that the reputations of Mr. Chau and of La Presse Chinoise are unequivocally anti-Falun Gong and pro-PRC, or People's Republic of China. La Presse Chinoise is the name of the company printing the Let's Press Chinois publication. Being called a Beijing agent was therefore not an unfair attack, but rather a legitimate opinion, she said. Mr. Chau believes that it is a part of his responsibility to defend the position of the PRC government. The Epoch Times articles raised his opinion on Falun Gong, but also on Tibet, and many other subjects are identical to that which the PRC's government advocates, Mandeville said. Mandeville also said Chau's explanations for how he funded his special editions denouncing Falun Dafa were, to say the least, nebulous. During the court proceedings, Chau admitted that he hasn't interviewed Falun Dafa practitioners for the content he published. He hadn't read Falun Dafa's teaching. He said he aspires to eradicate Falun Dafa. Of course, so there's like a little assumption here, you know. You know how that damn thing goes. So it was like the world of Bizarro over there. Chau subsequently appealed the lower court's decision without success. The 3 appeal court judges reaffirmed in 2012 that referring to Chau and his newspaper communities as agents promoting the ideas of a government cannot be considered defamatory. Chau tried to take the case to the Supreme Court, but failed. Well. See? That's why, folks, doesn't matter. You always got to beware of foreign influences, regardless of where they come from. Not just in Canada, but the United States and beyond. Remember, even myself, when it comes to APAC, okay, or the Defamation League, they're Israeli lobbyist groups or advocators. If you criticize Israel, they could be considered anti-Semitic. They may call us racist for criticizing the Chinese regime. It's very similar. Oh yeah. So these people got to be exposed. This is how it is. And now, like what's been going on, they're part of the New World Order platform, folks. It's time to backfire on these parasites. They're just an example of global oppression. Remember, they hate creeds. They hate faiths. They hate creeds. They destroyed a lot of old heritage when after Mao Tse-tung took over. I see them right now here in the States, taking out statues. They're even trying to vandalize churches. Very similar. Sounds familiar? Study your history. Nothing new at all. But it can never take away the spirit. That's why a lot of stuff is happening around the world. We're just the epicenter. Canada has their ordeals being infiltrated too. It's the way of government works. Cloak and dagger. Everywhere. But, hey, I'm not surprised at all. It's a good article. I'm very pleased. Like to read the stuff. I encourage people to donate to this site and everyone else if you can, or subscribe. I'm going to do another one here from Epoch Times, and this is interesting about gun rights. Actually, a woman owns a restaurant, if I'm correct. Yeah, I've heard of her. Owner Loren Bobert poses a portrait at a Shooter's Grill in Rifle, Colorado. This is in April 24, 2018. This is for reference to the 2020 elections. And according to this, gun rights activist Loren Bobert upsets Congressman in Colorado primary. Political newcomer Loren Bobert, who gained fame after confronting Beto O'Rourke over his stance on guns last year, beat Representative Scott Tippin for Republican from Colorado primary on Tuesday. Bobert had led of nearly 10,000 votes, with most precincts reporting our freedom and our constitutional rights are on the ballot this November. Republicans just sent a loud and clear message that they want me to fight for them. Bobert said in a statement after the win. I could like to suggest this to Mrs. Bobert. Instead of saying constitutional rights, natural rights. That's how you do it. You want to give them the jugular, you know? They hate that more. Well, I'll continue on here. I enjoy this race because thousands of ordinary Americans, just like me, are fed up with politics as usual. Colorado deserves a fighter who will stand up for freedom. Always say liberty, too. Who believes in America and who is willing to take on all left-wing lunatics who are trying so hard to ruin our country, she added. Since you're being too soft, you gotta call them treasonous parasites, vampires, scumbags. That really, you get really offended. But I know the game of politics. So you gotta use some finesse. I would still call them tyrants. Tipton, who had been in office for 5 terms, said Republicans chose who they wanted to run against Democrats in November. I want to congratulate Laura Bobert and wish her and her supporters well, he added in a statement. Republican President Donald Trump, who endorsed Tipton, said in a message to Bobert early July 1st, congratulations on a really great win. Well, he endorsed Tipton, but you know what? The people in that district sent the message. Tipton's the 4th House incumbent to lose in this cycle, following Representative Dan Lempiski from Illinois, Democrat from Illinois, Steve King, Republican from Iowa, Denver Riggleman, Republican from Virginia, Representative Elliot Engel, Democrat from New York, and Carolyn Maloney, Democrat from New York, are awaiting the final results in their races, but at least one appears to have lost. Ooh. Bobert, 34, owns a restaurant called Shooter's Grill in the town of Rifle. The restaurant features waitresses who open carry guns. Bobert attended a town hall that O'Rourke was holding in Aurora. I don't know why he was there. He lives in Texas, for goodness sakes. In 2019, and she vied for the Democratic presidential nomination. O'Rourke, 46, made waves when he said hell yes when asked during the primary debate if he would force Americans to give up their guns they purchased. He goes, I'm here to say hell no, you're not. Bobert said, there you go. Because if he wants to take guns, let him do it himself. Let's see how tough this poser is, right? And probably have his testicles in his mouth. So I'll continue on here. I have 4 children. I'm 5 foot, 100 pounds. I cannot really defend myself with a fist. I want to know how you're going to legislate that because a criminal breaks the law. So all you're going to do is restrict law-abiding citizens like myself, she added. And remember, technically, the police aren't obligated to protect an individual. Again, I'm not saying I support defunding either. Remember that. Bobert announced her bid for Congress 3 months later. There's a battle for the heart and soul of our country that I intend on helping win. Bobert said in the statement, at the time, I'm running for Congress to stand up for our conservative values, address our current representatives' failed promises, and put far-left Democrats back in their place. Bobert says on her campaign website that she is an avid supporter of Trump and his policies. She said her campaign is pro-freedom, pro-guns, pro-life, and pro-America. I'm going to add something to this. I would never say supporter of Trump and his policies. Say, I support the supreme law of the land. I'm pro-Bill of Rights, no exception. I say that in respect. But, like I said, you got to look at the human element, too. Colorado's 3rd Congressional District went for Trump by 12 percentage points in 2016, and Bobert favored against Dianne Middich Bush, a former state lawmaker who secured the Democratic nomination. Well. That's good news. I like that. All the insanity's going on, there's always positive feedback. Remember, there's chaos, there's opportunity. She took advantage of it, and look what happened. Bam. That's really cool. That kind of people we want. Freedom, love, and sovereignty individuals. So, Miss Loren Bobert did a good job. She stood up to Beto. Give him a big middle finger. Up yours, poser. You wish you were a man. No, I'm very pleased about that. Hey, whoever go to Colorado, a rifle, go to Shooter's Grill. Give her some love, man. Because I heard about this a while back. I'm like, you know what? If I go to Colorado, find out rifles, I'll go there go to Shooter's Grill and do my thing. I'll probably bring my goodies as well. Have a great conversation. That's awesome. I'm very pleased about that. Remember, like I said, there's always an action and reaction, folks. We don't need to be bellied up to tyranny, okay? She wants to represent the people in her district, not the other way around. There's too much status quos out there. And hopefully, and I hope and pray she won't sign that document by AIPAC saying you're a pro-Israel congresswoman if she gets elected. Because I get very touchy on that. So make sure that will be the thing. All right. So next one here came from the Florida Phoenix. Came out yesterday. And it's interesting. Conference of Mayors joins fight to implement Equal Rights Amendment. Look, I'm like thinking, wait a minute, is that looks like that thing has been squashed or terminated or rescinded. It's been lingering for years. So what the hell are people doing? Let's see what Laura Cassells has to say. It came out yesterday. All right, and a national push to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment nearly 50 years after it was proposed by Congress grew stronger, with legal boost from the U.S. Conference of Mayors and the pro-ERA organizations in Georgia, Louisiana, and South Carolina. 50 years? That's totally unconstitutional. It's null and void. The ERA will guarantee in the U.S. Constitution rights, regardless of sex, has been equal rights regardless of sex. What the hell does that mean? It has been ratified in 38 states, most recently Virginia, achieving the rest of 3/4 of the state need to amend the nation's supreme legal document. It's been around for 50 years, and right there, I believe there is a time span. Doesn't make any sense at all. The Trump administration, Department of Justice, and attorneys in general in red states such as Alabama, Louisiana, Nebraska, and Tennessee, but not Florida, oppose the ratification on various grounds. The legal argument hinged on the expiration of the 1982 deadline and for the ratification, and over the fact that 5 states rescinded their ratifications during the 1970s. Yeah, it's null and void. Yeah, the U.S. representatives voted in February to abolish the deadline. To abolish the deadline, the Senate has not voted on the measure. Okay, so it's null and void. The whole thing's a farce. The Conference of Mayors, equal means equal. 38 agreed for Georgia, and ratified ERA filed an amicus, friend of the court, brief Monday in the U.S. District of Columbia in support of a pro-ERA lawsuit filed in January by attorneys general for Virginia, Illinois, and Nevada, and three states to ratify. The Conference of Mayors represented mayors of 1,400 cities with populations greater than 30,000. Among the points raised in brief are other industrialized nations guarantee equality for women. Under the ERA, sex discrimination claims would be subject to greater court scrutiny, as are claims of discrimination based on race, religion, national origin, and the ERA would provide uniform protection from sex-based discrimination for the first time in history. Looks like a lot of the states could handle that themselves, and union contracts. Just dawns on me at times. The brief argues that a nationwide constitutional member is required, not just statutes, because even under the Equal Pay Act of 1963, employers can still pay men more than women based on factors including salary history, even when the salary history itself is based on decades of pay and equity. Brief was written by Gainesville-based Southern Legal Counsel and the law firm Baker, Dolzman, Bierman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz, with 21 offices across the Southeast. ERA foes and their legal filings cite concerns about the ERA bolstering abortion rights and threatening traditional approaches to child custody disputes and alimony. Happens a lot. The lawsuit calls upon federal archivist David Ferriero to record Virginia's vote to ratify, triggering implementation of the ERA and making it law. The Department of Justice instructed Ferriero not to accept the document, thus blocking implementation. The cascades of lawsuits filed, including one in which the Conference of Mayors and other ERA allies hope to intervene. Equal Means Equal, an advocacy group for the ERA, filed a separate lawsuit in the U.S. District Court in Massachusetts in January, demanding that Fierro accept and record Virginia's historic ratification. The Department of Justice opposed that 1-2. Florida did not ratify the ERA. It came to a last vote in 1982, when it narrowly passed in the House and narrowly failed in the Senate. The Florida-led Republican legislature who refused to hold any hearings on the ERA in 2020, although numerous legislators sponsored pro-ERA equal pay bills. Sometimes I just scratch my head, because this is almost 38 years according to this on the deadline. Don't make any sense. The whole thing's irrelevant, unconstitutional, null and void. And some of the rules in there is encroaching on federal jurisdiction. Now, the whole thing's a monumental deception in good faith. Hey, if the person can do the job same as the men, can do the job, yeah, then they deserve the pay. Because sometimes you got folks that they can't do the job, they get the same amount of pay as another individual. It's ethics, not gender. It just really dawns on me. People want things handed to them. And a lot of places I know, they get the same pay anyway. A lot of these places I go to. And plus, even myself, as a union stagehand, there's some women that they can do the job. Yeah, they deserve the pay. If you're going to be a bunch of prima donnas, just like a lot of men are, they don't count. So I just had to get a good chuckle on this. Just really head scratcher at times. So don't rely on the federal government to take care of your problems, folks. This is like totally a la-la land, all right? All right, so one more thing here. And the other thing, too, is called the 10th Amendment. But if you're going to do Equal Rights Amendment, remember what happened with the prohibition of alcohol, the 18th. It got nullified and repealed. All right, one more thing here. This is interesting. Actually came out of the Rutherford Institute today. Victory. The U.S. Supreme Court overturns discriminatory law preventing students from using scholarships to attend religious private schools. And this is what he had to say. Oops. Shoot. No. One moment. Oops. Okay, good. I got that. So as it reads, rejecting long-standing state laws that discriminate against religion, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that Montana must allow scholarships it provides to be used by families for tuition at religious schools. The court's 5-4 decision in Espinoza versus Montana Department of Revenue found that a state constitutional provision restricting aid to religious institutions violates the First Amendment rights of parents and children when applied to forbid families from using state financial assistance to attend private schools with religious ties. In an amicus brief filed in Espinoza, the Rutherford Institute pointed out that the school choice restriction was a result of a 150-year-old provision known as the Blaine Amendment, which was enacted in an era when anti-Catholic prejudice and nativist opposition to immigration from Ireland and Germany rampant. 37 states have versions of the Blaine Amendments in their constitutions. Attorney Jason P. Gosselin, Jim M. Bloor, and Joseph P. Connor of Drinker, Biddle, and Reith assisted the Rutherford Institute in advancing the arguments in Espinoza. The First Amendment required neutrality when it comes to religion, said Constitutional Attorney John W. Whitehead, president of the Rutherford Institute and author of Battlefield America, The War on the American People. In other words, the government may not favor or disfavor one religion or another, nor it may favor or disfavor religion over non-religion. With the reverse holding true as well, the Constitution established a neutral playing field from all viewpoints and requirements the government to remain equally impartial. This is the beauty of the Establishment Clause. In 2015, the Montana legislature created a scholarship program for students intended to provide parents with more choices on where their children would attend school. The program fostered this choice by providing individuals and businesses with a tax credit up to $150 annually for donations made to private organizations that provide scholarships to students who wish to attend private schools. However, the state's taxing agency ruled that students could not use scholarships at any school or own or controlled in whole or in by any church, religious sect, or denomination. Citing the state Constitution's Blaine Amendment as justification, Kendra Espinoza, a single mother depending on the scholarship funds to offset private school tuition costs, exercised her right to choose for the best school for her children by selecting a Christian school whose values she preferred, as opposed to keeping her daughters in public school, where they have been bullied. With her ability to use scholarship funds for the Christian school was cut off, Espinoza sued, asserting that the exclusion of religious schools from the scholarship program discriminated against religion in violation of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, writing of the 5-4 majority. Chief Justice Roberts noted that states are not required to subsidize private education, but once the state decides to do so, it cannot disqualify some private schools solely because they are religious. Of course, the Rutherford Institute, a nonprofit civil liberties organization, provides legal assistance at no charge to individuals whose constitutional rights have been threatened or violated, and educates the public in a wide spectrum of issues affecting their freedoms. And you can read in the case, there's a case right here on it, and you could read it for yourselves. So, of course, you can have all the whiners out there, but you know what? That's how it goes. And folks should start reading the state constitutions as well on this matter, because technically that person, Espinoza's rights, may be violated on her natural rights for her natural rights on how to raise her kids. So decide what's best for them. You always got to look at those areas, and hey, this is how it goes. And hey, I think it's pretty damn cool. And I'm going to see if I can find it here. Yeah, there it is. Montana Constitution, Ballotpedia. It's a good site, by the way, folks. I always encourage people to look up, because it's history about balloting, votes, and all that, and laws. And they have an area, Declaration of Rights. There's 35 sections in here in Article 2. And inalienable rights. All persons are born free and have certain inalienable rights. They include a right to a clean and healthy environment, healthful environment, and the rights of pursuing life's basic necessities, enjoying and defending their lives, liberties, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and seeking their safety, health, and happiness in all lawful ways. Enjoying these rights, all persons recognize corresponding responsibilities. Make it hit one more here. Individual dignity. Dignity of the human being is inviolable. No person shall be denied the equal protections of the laws. Neither the state nor any person, firm, corporation, or institution shall discriminate against any person in the exercise of his civil or political rights on account of race, color, sex, culture, social origin, or condition, or political or religious ideas. Checkmate. End of story on its face. I will add this to the memo on my Spreaker page. So, folks, that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. you have any questions, comments, maybe something interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. If you have any other recommendations, I think I got distracted here. Sorry about that. But yeah, if you got any questions, comments, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. Furthermore, I shall leave the footnotes on my Spreaker page. I encourage everyone. The articles I narrate, I encourage everyone to check them out, support them, subscribe, donate if you can. It's okay, even $1 a month, that'd be awesome. It could be one or all, because hey, we're all in the same boat right now. And if you want to send me some love, contributions that is, you can hit me at that's one of them, of course. I'm just being sarcastic. You can hit me at paypal.me/Loki Luck the Third. Or Loki Luck 3, number 3. Okay, so it's /Loki Luck number 3 altogether. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love. And may your guardian spirits be with you. And it looks like I goofed up. My goodness. Man. Sorry about that. Shoot. Oh well, looks like my music died on me. Good grief. Alright, you guys be safe.